Obi, Mr. Hicks, Reeve, how we doing? Good morning. Good morning to everyone else. What's going on? Give another few minutes here. We'll let everyone join in before we start. Show you guys exactly what we got for the new TradingView indicator that we just released. Currently, gold and platinum have access to it, but anyone who is verified, this is something that you will also get access to. If you sign up with the ref link and follow the steps to get access to gold, you'll get access to the TradingView indicator as well. So everything you see today is what you will get access to if you go through that process. Another minute or two, and I'll start sharing my screen and we can dive in. And again, just anyone, if my voice is quiet for you, just right click on my name in the stream and you can just turn the volume up to 200%. It might just be because of the headset that I'm using. So just anyone who hears my voice quietly, you can do that. Yeah, right before it dumped. I actually haven't looked at the market too much. I was just preparing for the stream with all the charts and stuff. Yeah, I think so as well. Actually can't remember. Yeah, I actually don't remember. Like, I can't remember if we got like a Santa rally last year or not. Yeah, Q4 has not been what everyone expected, that's for sure. Yeah, exactly. Zero, Hassan, what's going on, guys? Yeah, this indicator is insane. What Native cooked up. You guys can see why it took as long as it did as well. There's a lot of features to it, a lot of different ways to use it, but like the levels that it generates are, I've never used an indicator that even comes close to giving you support resistance like this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes it so easy, which I'll show you guys today too. Yeah, yeah, exactly. All right, I'm gonna share my screen here. You guys let me know if you can see it. Sorry. All good. All right. Guys, let's dive in here. So yeah, we have a new TradingView indicator that we just released. Been working on it for well over a year now. It's available to gold and platinum members, like I said. So anyone who's verified and has like the free trial access. If you go through the process of signing up under the ref link and depositing the 500 into your trading account to get access to gold, you will also get access to the indicator. Woods made an announcement today that like when the first 500 people get access, we're going to pause it for a bit. So anyone who's interested, and especially after this video, I highly suggest going through that process. So I'm going to show you guys exactly what the indicator is, all of the functions of it, and then I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways that you can use it. It's extremely powerful, and the main feature of it is like support resistance levels, but there's a ton of other built-in things that you can also use in conjunction with those levels to find, like, it basically gives you buy and sell signals if you use it in specific ways. And just one more reminder before we start, now that we're getting going, anyone, if my voice is quiet, just right-click on my name and you can turn the volume up. All right, let's dive into it. So I'm just gonna turn drawings off here. All right, so I'll explain why I have 3 up here. I do this just to make things a lot simpler, but it is one indicator. I'll just turn it off. Sure. So the main function of this indicator is the support resistance levels that you see on the chart here. So these support and resistance levels are generated automatically for you on any chart instantly. It doesn't matter what you go to, and it doesn't matter what time frame. It will generate these just like this. You can go to stock charts, you can go to crypto charts, you can go to indexes, it doesn't matter. So you can see one day with the weekly, just instantly generated right there on the chart for you. And these levels are pulled from previous 3 years worth of data, but they also take into account recent price action. So you get extremely accurate levels based on, like I said, 3 years of data, but also all of the price action that's currently going on. And they will update, they don't update too much, but like every 1 or 2 days, you'll see them shift around. And that's because of the recent price action. It's giving you like current up-to-date levels always, and just automatically. It doesn't matter. Like I said, any time frame, any chart. So that's the first function of the indicator. And it makes like understanding what levels to trade, whether that's Bitcoin and ETH and the market overall, or just specific coins, it's instant basically. So you don't have to eyeball any support resistance levels anymore. You don't have to have any guesswork. And anyone who's had this indicator now with access can attest to just how accurate these levels are and how much time it actually saves you having to chart these things out. And yeah, like literally across any chart, just as you can see here, we'll just flip through some time frames. It automatically generates them 2 seconds for you. So whether you're looking at a high time frame bias and you're looking at daily and weekly levels, or you're looking at lower mid time frames like 4 hours, or even going down to like 30 minutes and 1 hour, you're going to have concrete levels that you can execute around and that you can use to base your market analysis off of. So that's the first function of the indicator. Now the second function of the indicator, I'm going to go into here. So these are all of the settings inside. Quick question, are the levels based on volume of past and current data? Yeah, it's based on like a lot of stuff. So like I said, it takes 3 years worth of price action, volume, all of that into account, but also recent. And obviously can't tell you specifics because that's the secret sauce, but it takes a ridiculous amount of data into consideration to give you guys these levels. So right here, the first part of the indicator is the levels, so we can take that off. Now the second part of the indicator is it is the RSI and OBV divergences. So I'm going to turn this on here. Now the indicator will also come with an RSI indicator here, and it'll come with an OBV. The OBV is the same as the RSI, it's just OBV, so it's like a bit different. I only use the RSIs, and I'm not going to put the OBV on just for organizational purposes. But what you can see here, again, doesn't matter what time frame you go to, it's going to show you the divergences here. and it's going to give you the corresponding divergences on your RSI or OBV. So if it says OBV here, there'd be a divergence on the OBV, but I personally just use the RSI. I turn OBV on to just see when they have RSI plus OBV because those are more powerful, but just for organizational purposes, we're just going to look at the RSI. The OBV will be the same. Like, it'll have an indicator and it'll have it on the chart. It won't be the same exact divergences, but most of you will understand that. So again, any time frame that you flip between, you can see 4 hours, it's going to give you the divergences. Any chart you go to, instant. It's going to show you all that info. Go down to 1 hour, you can see the divergences. You can clearly see how this is marking out top and bottom, giving you very clear and nice rejections and bounces. But we'll go through all that next. But yeah, this is going to give you divergences so that you can understand when price is losing momentum in either direction. Again, on higher time frames, if you want to do swings, lower time frames, mid time frames, it doesn't matter. And I'll show you how you can correlate these with the levels to find really easy, essentially buy-sell signals in the market. And yeah, basically you can just do this on any time frame. And again, it does it with OBV too, but I just have RSI. So that is the second function of the indicator. Now, this third function, it's actually not going to show it currently because today is Monday. But when Monday's range closes, you'll have the Monday range showing just like it would this. So this is last week's Monday range. So I have some Monday range trade examples that I'm going to show you guys. But again, today's Monday currently, so Monday's range has not formed yet, so it's not going to show. But this is last week's Monday range, and when you turn it on the indicator, it will show you Monday's range as well. But it'll also show you other information, such as you can do daily open, monthly open, yearly open. And those will show up because those have already happened. I'm not sure where yearly open is. Go with Bitcoin. But it'll show you monthly, daily, as well as yearly open. So those are other levels that you can add onto your chart. Now, I'm going to show you guys what I do for organizational purposes to make things very easy to use the indicator. So let's turn everything off here. So what I do is I put 3 of them on. The first one is going to be my levels. Turn that one off. The second one is going to not have the levels on. It's not going to have Monday range on. It's just going to have my divergences on. So turn that off. And then the third one is not going to have levels or divergences. It's going to have the Monday range. And again, Monday range won't show just because it's Monday and it's forming. This way, I can easily just turn my levels on, or I can easily just turn my divergences on. It makes charting and it makes everything a lot cleaner and a lot faster. And that's kind of like, it's a big hack that I've found because I can go, let's say, so I have my 4-hour levels drawn on. And I'll, like, this is what I do is if I need to draw levels, because I use 4-hour basically for every single thing, but I'll draw them on myself because when I have my 4-hour levels on, I can go down to 1 hour, still see my 4-hour levels, turn my divergences on, and I can really see my lower time frame triggers and execution at my higher time frame, like areas of interest being the support resistance. Right, so I can come down into the 1 hour and turn my divergences on. And you can see, you know, bearish divergence into the resistance. You've got bullish divergences. You've got bullish divergences into support. You know, bearish divergences here, bullish one here, bullish one here. Right, it really gives you the ability to like execute at your high time frame levels without having to like flip around through them. So 2 different kind of hacks that I do to make my life a lot simpler as opposed to having to go and be like, okay, you know, levels here and then switch it down. And first of all, go back into the indicator, turn on the divergences. Like it just makes it very, very simple to execute. So highly suggest that you do that to make your life easier. But those are the basic functionalities of what the indicator can do for you when you have it on TradingView. That's the support and resistance levels on any chart, on any time frame, instantly generated for you the divergences on both RSI and OBV, as well as the RSI and OBV indicator down here, and then the Monday range plus monthly open, daily open, and yearly open levels, all built into one very clean indicator for you. So if anyone has any questions on that, we're just going to stop it here for a second. Let me know. Any questions at all? Value one higher than the other bull bear did. Yeah, so OBV are weaker than RSI, I find, but the stronger one is when you have RSI plus OBV as a divergence as well. I don't keep my OBV divergences on. I just look at RSI. But what I will do is have, like, when I have my divergences up here, I'll turn on OBV as well, so that I can see when it's RSI plus OBV. Because this is another function of it. You can get rid of this. So there's a lot of customization too that comes with it. You can detect your divergences based on candle close or wicks, depending on how you trade. So you can do it by wicks. You have the option for that, but you can also do it based on candle close. Candle closure is the like appropriate way to look at divergences technically, but we give you the option to do both, and you can change the maximum bars to check. So this number here that you're seeing, like OBV 29, RSI 12, this is telling you how many candles it is between here, the first peak, and the second peak of the divergence. So you can also adjust this, right? You can not show how many numbers of candles if you don't want. That's a customization. You can only show last divergences if you want. So it's just going to, you know, keep it a bit cleaner and show you just the last 2 or 3. You can wait for confirmation. So it'll show divs as they're forming, or you can wait for confirmation. You can show just RSI, just OBV, or both. But yeah, in terms of which are stronger, OBV, in my experience, are not as strong as RSI, and nothing is as strong as when you have RSI and OBV. No, native's still in the basement. We're just getting started. Crazy part is you got, like, what comes next is even crazier than this. You guys have no idea. Any idea of some sort of range detector may be added? Rangy markets are best conditions for trading in the proper way. Yeah, I'll cover that today. You can do that all with the indicator, and it makes your life so simple. I'll show you guys so much alpha today with this thing. Should I wait for confirmation? I turn, what do I have on? I don't wait for confirmation because I also like to see when divs are forming and then they break. So say this div here was forming and it had it there, but it pushed higher and then the div disappeared. So I like to see if the div is currently there, even if it does break or not, it'll disappear. Yeah, this will be recorded May Day as well, so you guys can all go back. And on top of that, I have like a full, okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to look at support resistance flips, how to look at divergences into the levels, how to do Monday range with divergences, ranging conditions, trending conditions, swing trading. But I'm going to have separate educational pieces that are like 5-6 minutes on each one in a section, the same as we have for all the other education stuff for you guys. I like to trade different. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, right, like one of the main, well, the main way that I trade this, and I think most people do, is like divergences into levels. So if you had a divergence here into the level, but you know this broke, and now you're flipping, right, like this H4 support, sorry, this H4 resistance into support, like, you know, that is a good sign of continuation for sure. I haven't used it that way, but that's smart. Raphael. What's going on, Rob? No, there's nothing to do with POCs on here. So this is support resistance, divergences on RSI, OBV, and then Monday range with the daily open, monthly open, yearly open levels. But yeah, I'm going to show you guys just like how clean these levels are. So there's two ways that you can use the levels really, right? Like you can use the levels specifically on the actual time frame itself. And you can use this in a way where like as you start closing above one level, you can expect price to most likely go towards the next level. And it's very clean, right? So this is 4 hours. So like we'll just go back into some price action. You can see like all the wicks, how it doesn't close below the level, right? Test the level, kind of range in between, but until you get like a candle closure above, you don't really go towards the next level. So this is one way that you can use the indicator to really gauge price action, right? Like we pushed up, we close above here, and then you can see we start holding this level. We close no candles below it. We push towards the next level. You know, we come, we dip down. It's kind of choppy here. We start closing above, but then like the market got a big nuke here. So this price action is much cleaner. But you can see like first candle comes up, it rejects, it does not close above. This one closes above the previous resistance, right? So we trend towards the next level. And you can see we every single time we go up, rejects, we get very small closures above, but we rotate towards the next level here. We do not close below, we bounce off of it, and then we get a candle close here below the actual, what was support, now resistance. So you can expect the next level to be tested. Now again, we come, we test it, beautiful wick bounce. None of these candles close below. Again, we had the sweep here, but we closed above. That's a sign of strength, right? We're still holding this level. We have not closed a single candle below it. And then we push up, you know, today, price action in here. It's like we've closed them above, like it's real choppy, kind of chopping around this level. But you can really use this in terms of the 4 hour, like right here, right? If you watch the wicks into levels as well as the closes, like it's so accurate with these levels. It's insane. And you can use this on the higher time frames, like I'm saying, or you can go down to lower time frames. But like, let's go to this like cleaner price action here, right? We push up, we come, we retest it, no closes below, go to this level. This first 4 hour, we close back below, but this one closes above right here. Push to the next level. This one closes above, it pushes to the next level where we get the rejection. Test it here, this candle closes below, you know, we come back down to this level, closes below here, holds the level, big wick down, but holds the level once again, closes above on this big candle. You know, you can just see how well it reacts between all these levels. So this is looking at 4 hour levels on the 4 hour time frame, but you can also, if you add the levels manually, like I was showing you, and you can do this easily, so I'll just show you. Like, just save, like make a template and just call it like, I just call mine WB H4, H2, whatever daily. And all you would do is just draw a line. You go down to your template, H4, and then you would just put this in coordinates, right? So like 95, 724, and then just copy paste if you want the next level, and you can just do 97, 717, right? And it's super easy to like add these levels. It doesn't take much, it's a bit of manual work. But then you can add those levels permanently there. And you can go down to whatever time frame, right? You go down to 15 minutes, and you could look at how price reacts around them and how to trade around them. Come down to the hourly time frame, and you can see same things we were looking at before on the 4 hour with the wicks. Now we're on a lower time frame, right? You can still see like how price rejects, bounces, holds. So it gives you the ability to keep your higher time frame levels, whether daily. So the main ones I use are daily and 4 hour. Those are like the two that I'll draw onto my charts when I'm actually looking to take a play or map out something. And then, you know, I'll execute on 15, 30 minute or 1 hour, and I'll use things like divergences and stuff from the indicator. So again, like near was also very clear, like 4 hour levels, you can see all these wicks. We reject, come down towards this level, we get the candle closure above, push up to this level, we reject, you know, this candle bounces, but this one closes below, actually goes all the way down here, test this one. You know, we get a bounce, we get the candle closure below the level here, we come and retest this level, you know, push up to here, again, we wick below, sweep, but we do not close below, closes, or sorry, like rejections once again, close here, coming down, and now we're retesting it, right? So it's like as long as we hold now this level on near, you can expect this level to be tagged. If we start closing back below here on the 4 hour, you can expect this level to be tagged. So you can really use these levels to gauge where the market's going on like candle closes. And it works the same, right? If you're on a 1 hour time frame looking at 1 hour levels, it's the exact same thing. You can expect when you get hourly closes above and below the levels that you can most likely test the next one. And obviously the lower you go in time frames, as always, the signals are not as strong. So things like daily and 4 hour and weekly candle closes above and below the level mean a lot more than like a 30-minute. But again, you can do whatever you want. You can go onto the 15-minute, use the levels and scalp using like 1 minute, 5-minute execution. Everyone's going to use these things differently. So, but that's the main feature and how you can like use that to really see and gauge like level flips and overall. And I highly suggest using daily and 4 hour for this. Like you can really gauge with like Bitcoin, for example, when we get closes above on daily levels and weekly levels when it's potentially going to the next. And that's super helpful for you to understand the market direction overall on a higher time frame, and then look to execute on your lower time frame. So if anyone has any questions on that, let me know now. And then we'll go into how you can use the levels with divergences almost as buy and sell signals in a way. If anything isn't making any sense or anyone has any questions on that, let me know. We can go through here. So clear, love it, love it. All right, sweet. So now I'm going to show you guys kind of the main way that you can use this indicator in terms of execution of trades. So you can use it in any way you want in terms of executing at the levels. Everyone trades differently, whether you trade SFPs, divergences, volume, supply, demand, whatever. You can tie all of that in with these levels and trade it. But if you want to use the actual indicator and the functions itself to really help boost your execution and telling you when to take a trade at the levels, I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So we're going to look at the divs here. So again, I've just plotted out the 4 hour levels as I showed you guys, so that when I turn off the indicator levels, I can go down to lower time frames and look at how I would have executed at these levels. So now what you can do, if you have the high time frame levels drawn, you can turn on your divergences on, let's say, 1 hour, 30-minute, or 15-minute, whatever you like to trade. And then you can look at what happens around these levels on those time frames. So we can go back in time here and look at how you could have executed some very nice trades. The way to do it is to wait for divergences, either bearish divergences at resistance or bullish divergences at support. So you can see very clearly here, we'll start back here, we had a 1 hour bearish divergence right here around the actual resistance, right? If you would have taken this trade, you would have caught a 5% move back down towards the next level. Now this one didn't actually play out. This is, I forget what happened, but we got like a really big nuke in the market. And again, nothing is 100%. They're not all going to play out. But we came down, and the next time we actually got divergences, we got it into support here. And this happened across the whole market, right? If we go to Bitcoin, we got the very nice divergence into support. Same with Ethereum. Ethereum sold off a little more, so I think it was like lower time frame, had the 30-minute. And this is the beauty of the indicator. You can go from 1 hour to see the divergences, and then you can go to 30-minute, you go to 15-minute. It's going to plot them all just instantly, right? So you can just see we have the 30-minute super oversold divergence on Ethereum into support. On Bitcoin, we had a very nice hourly. We had a 30-minute. We had 2 15 minutes, even though it wasn't right at the peak, it went down a little bit more. But it gives you the ability to very easily see the divergences. You don't have to eye it anymore, right? And one of the tricks with playing these divergences into support and resistance, the ones that work the best are the ones that are oversold or overbought, right? So this one here wasn't overbought. Nice divergence though. These here were also not overbought, right? Like this here, this divergence was in the middle. Like you don't really want to take divergences so much so that are close to mid-range. You want to take the ones that look like this and the ones that look like this. These are the ones that are going to give you the best returns when price is super oversold and you get bullish divergences into support, or when price is when RSI is super overbought and you're getting bearish divergences into resistance. These are the money makers. This is the one where it's telling. So what is it telling you? What's price action saying? RSI is super oversold, meaning mathematically you can expect some sort of at least top or accumulation here, or you can expect a bounce. Now, when you get the divergence, that's telling you that the sellers are losing momentum. Now you get the 4-hour support level here, again pulled from 3 years worth of data and current price action, giving you a very solid level where you can expect a bounce. Now you have like a picture painted for you saying sellers are losing momentum, RSI is super oversold, and you're coming into a very strong support, right? It gives you like, okay, you know, this is essentially a buy trigger here. You know, you still have to use proper risk management, have like a proper invalidation and stuff, but it's really painting a picture for you that like, you know, a reversal is most likely mathematically going to occur around here. Doesn't mean it will. Nothing is 100%, but it's all probabilistic, right? There's more of a probable chance of a bounce here than a further downside. And inversely up here, price is extremely overbought. You have a bearish divergence showing you that buyers are losing momentum and you're coming into a very strong level. It's more probabilistic of a reversal here of a move down than a continuation up. So when you get this signal here, RSI and OBV, it's essentially like a sell signal, right? And yeah, you can go through your charts and just back test this and throw your 4-hour daily levels on or whatever levels, right? You can do this exact same thing by putting your H1 and H2 levels on and executing on the 5-minute and the 15-minute to scalp. So let's take a look at pump. Again, I just have our H4 levels on. We take a look at the 30-minute time frame. You can see here some more examples of just a very clear RSI and OBV divergence, overbought into resistance. Very clean, right? Like that's an 18% move down until you start getting more divergences. Where do you get them? You get them around support here. Beautiful. You have price super oversold into support area. This is where you're looking for longs. The bot and the levels are telling you this. That's a 30% move higher, right? This one here, this one ended up breaking. It was even an overbought. They're not all going to work, like I said, but you're not around any support resistance here. So you don't have all 3 pieces of the puzzle. Now what happens on your next ones? You continue to push up. You get another 3 drive of divergences here, but where do you get it? This time you get it right into resistance. This is super overbought, and what happens? You played it out fully, you got like a 15% move. You even got another chance here as price bounces from this level, gives you another 30-minute bearish divergence right around resistance before playing that out. Now you play it out till you get, again, see this one here? Like this territory here is like, it's not exactly where you want to take a trade. You come down here, super oversold. You get your RSI divergence right around the oversold area. That's where you get your bounce right into support there, another 10% move. So you can really use this to understand exactly where you should be looking for trades and have essentially the indicator tell you, okay, the time is now. Like I said, you have all 3 pieces of the puzzle. You have your RSI or OBV divergence directly into support or resistance, and just look for RSI to be either overbought or oversold, and it makes it extremely easy for you to catch trades. So that's kind of like the first main function of how you can use the levels and the RSI or OBV indicator to tell you when to look for trades or when to take profits on trades that you took, right? Like if you're long from down here, you know, you can take profits at these points where the price could reverse. If you shorted here, right, you can take profits at these levels where it's telling you price could reverse. So makes it very, very simple, very intuitive. And the more you backtest this, the more insane it will get to you how accurate it is. So any questions you guys have on this part of it, just let me know now, and then we'll dive into like how you can play it with Monday range. There's general CMO you follow, like general bias and Bitcoin and ETH. Yeah, so that's a good question. So like every single day I open up my charts, I go through Bitcoin, ETH, and then I also go through my indexes like total. You know, I take a look at ETH, BTC, Bitcoin dominance, USDT, and I'll chart those out on like the 4 hour, make sure all my current levels, if they've updated overnight, are good. And then, you know, I'll build my bias from there. So it's like if I was looking at Bitcoin, right? You know, like we just rejected from here. You know, we could get another retest into here where I'd look for trades. We could get a retest into here where I'd look for trades. You know, if we end up pushing back into this resistance, maybe we sweep these highs or something, you know, I'll look for trades. So it gives me like areas in terms, well, that's 30 minutes. It gives me like areas in terms of the market where like I can really look to execute my trades, right? And then I'll tie it in with like however else I trade. Like if we come down to here, like we have like a very, very clear untested H2 demand, which is beautiful to look for trades. And so if we look at that, you know, price comes down into here, like this is like, I would love to get long in here if we ever got that, right? Sweeps out this here, comes down into here, we get some sort of divs with the indicator. This is an area where you could long anything on the market. Cause like if we lose this, right, like, yeah, we have this here, but like, we really don't want to lose like 86K. Like we have the chance to go sweep the lows if that happens. So, but if we do lose it, where am I looking? I'm looking here. I'm looking for the sweep of this, and I'm looking for the indicator to tell me there's divs and whatnot here, right? Sweep this low out. So I use the levels, update them every single day when I log on to give me very clear places where I'm just looking for trades. And then when price gets there, you know, I have my favorite coins that I'll trade, and it's typically the coins that are trending on the market. So it's like I'll be looking at ZAC, I'll be looking at like Pump, be looking at like, you know, Aster, Pangu, Partcoin, like all the coins that are actually like trending is like usually what I'm following, and I'll just look to tie in those trades with when we get to levels. But you can also just look at like, have a section that's just the top 50 by market cap, and like I'll just look at those, and it's like if you're looking for shorts, say we come into here, and you're expecting price to just maybe chop around this area until FOMC, you know, we get some like 30-minute, 15-minute triggers and divs in here. It's like you could just go look at like the most overbought coins on the market and execute a short on those, or look at the weakest coins or whatever. But yeah, I'll go through Bitcoin and ETH and my indexes, chart my 4 hour levels so I understand where I'm looking to execute on the market overall. And then I'll set alerts for there and then just play the coins that like I typically play. But that's, you have a good point there too, and that's something I'm going to cover in the education and other streams. You can tie in like Woodsbot gold bots with the indicator, and just like if something is oversold or overbought using the OBOS, you can just straight up start charting your levels on there, looking for divergences on there, Monday sweeps, and you can execute that way as well in terms of finding coins. Yeah, for sure. We can find one or two on replay. So I'm going to go into the Monday range now. So again, I have Monday range drawn from last week, just because this week it's currently Monday right now, so the range is forming. But I mapped out last week's Monday range for this reason exactly, because I was going to stream this on Sunday, but we didn't end up doing that. So I have the range already mapped out. So I'm going to show you how you could have executed some trades here. We'll go take the replay back. So this is Monday's range, And this would show on the indicator. So when I turn my third one on, which would be Monday range, this would show. And this is last Monday that this was playing out. So Monday had just closed and it's now Tuesday. This is what the price action looks like, right? You have the possibility of some divs. Price is super oversold here, and this is the 1 hour time frame. And this is after that recent nuke in the market that we had. So we can see that, we're looking for a sweep of Monday's low, right? We're looking for some sort of sweep and reclaim of Monday's low, ideally with some divergences in here to indicate to you that, price is oversold. We have divergences indicating that sellers are losing momentum, and you have a sweep of a key level being Monday's low. So we're going to play this through a bit. I think this is the hourly time frame. We're going to turn our divergences on so that if we form a divergence, we can see that, and then we can look to execute a trade. So you can see on that last candle drop there, right? You have quite a significant divergence. Now, can I go back? No, I can't. But let's say this is 2 hours after, because these are hourly candles. This candle here closed, the next candle rejected. You seen this divergence printed with the indicator and the RSI, could have executed a trade in here. You could have taken a long. Let's see. Where would you place your stop? Got some demand. Like, you could place your stop low here if you wanted to play it super safe. So we'll just place our stop here below this low. And you could target Monday's high. So this would be a 2 to 1 RR here, or you could target like this supply here, which led to the breakdown. So we'll do that. That's a 3.5 hour trade there. And we could have executed this trade, just say right at Monday's low. So when price came back, and you could have executed it based off that hourly divergence, targeting, this supply here, which led to the breakdown. And we could have played this out. Now let's see what would have happened. So let's take a look at lower time frames too. So you have a 30-minute divergence. You have 1, 2, 3 30-minute divergences actually, right? Price is down here in this super oversold area. 15-minute, you don't have. So we have a 30-minute and a 1 hour divergence into the sweep of Monday's low with a somewhat strong reclaim here, right? Depending how we close this candle. We took it on 1 hour, so let's just watch the 1 hour. Now we're expecting to play up towards Monday's high. Jesus Christ, what a candle. So, I mean, that happened relatively quick. 10% move in a few hours. But, this is technical, right? This is technical. You have a sweep of Monday's low with an hourly divergence. This is a trade you take all day long. You have very clear invalidation here. You have a 2 to 3 R trade here. And this is what you're targeting, right? You probably would have taken profits, TP1 when it swept here. Definitely would have taken a TP1 when it swept here. And then, TP2 would have been here because it happened so fast, and then TP3 up here to play it through. So you can see it topped around a little bit at Monday's low, but very strong move all the way up into supply. Continues up. So super strong move. You most likely were not going to be targeting 30% up here, but who knows? But anyways, it doesn't matter where you were targeting. The main factor here is the fact that you had the triggers here to take a very nice trade given the 30-minute hourly bullish divergence shown to you by the indicator right at Monday's low, shown to you by the indicator as well. Now I want to look at something to take a look and see, did we have any levels around here? We had a 2 hour level just above Monday's high, some levels below. You can also use the way that we had a 4 hour support here below this, you can also use that to help find levels to take profits and to set invalidations as well, right? So there's a way that you can play this where if you're playing 4-hour levels and you're playing the flips of 4-hour levels, like native does this really well. So if you're playing like, you're playing levels and let's say you're playing this level here or something where you're now closed above it, you can, oh, it's going to be so annoying. You can take a trade where you are long here with your stop below here, targeting levels above. So if we start closing above here, right, with multiple candles, you can take a trade as in a long with your stops below this level because you can see how it plays level to level, and you could be targeting levels, you know, up to here. So you can play it that way too, and you can do this on the hourly, you can do it on the 2-hour, it doesn't matter. But it's like the second you start closing above a level, like I was showing you guys at the very start, you can look to take a long with your stops below here, targeting levels above, right? So start closing below here, right? After we came up here, you could take a short with your stops up here, right? Price goes down, whatever. So you can play it level to level, and all of this will come with a ton of back testing. You know, I'll do so many more streams and education and stuff. These are all just very broad ideas that you can take and run with yourself, but just ways to show you guys what can be done. So we just did ENA. Let's take a look at, oh yeah. All right, now let's take a look at, what is this, uni? So again, this is Monday of last week. What we're going to be looking for now that Monday's range has closed is a sweep of Monday's range, some form of reclaim, and or divergences down here shown to you by the indicator. So we're going to play this one through. Right, so we have divergences near Monday's low, but we haven't swept it yet. And you can see us forming more and more divs here on the 30-minute, but we still have not swept Monday's low. There we go. We get the sweep of Monday's low, and we have a now reclaim. We're looking at 30-minute. There could be an hourly. There could be a 15-minute. So we have hourly divergences. And this is the beauty of it. You can just flip between the time frames and see like very clearly. So if you go to the hourly, like we have very clear signals here. The same setup as ENA, where we swept, we closed one below it, and we closed the next one above it. So, you know, you could have again taken a long, and depending where you can even take a long up here with stops, you know, below where the divergence was created. So like instead of saying we just perfectly caught Monday's low, let's just take a long here, where now we have confirmation of 2 hourly bullish divergences. We have one candle closed back above, and we have a strong looking candle, so we've decided to enter the trade, right? Very clear divergences here, very good triggers. Sweep of Monday's low is exactly what we were looking for, and now we're targeting Monday's high, and like this mess of highs up here, you know, these are all something that you could target as well. So if we flip Monday's high, we are most likely going to clean up all of these highs here. All of these people are sitting short and they think they're safe. So, you know, whatever, you can target here. And we play it through. Again, the market de-reversed. So like these were all very nice trades, but they're all valid trades. So this is all something that you would take depending whatever style you trade and whatnot. But like hourly divergences, sweep of Monday's low, it's beautiful. You've already taken profits here without a doubt. And you can see too the rejection that we have. Like we now have a 1 hour bearish divergence here at Monday's high, right? And you can see you could have taken this trade and caught a 3 so far. I don't remember what happened, but you could have already caught. You could have exited this and or taken good profits off of it, and then you could have shorted up here into the supply zone when we got an hourly bearish divergence at the sweep of Monday's high. Let's see what happens. I think we keep going because the market was super strong. Yeah, beautiful. Like, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. So let's run this back. You took the play down at Monday's low with the divergences, bullish divergences into the sweep. You then had the same setup with a 3 drive of bearish divergence into Monday's high. So whatever. Say you close the trade because this is like very clear. So you stopped anywhere above these highs, go 4%. And you could have looked to short anywhere in here. Okay, whatever. I'm just going to take this off for sake of organization. Right? You had, actually, let's just do this. Targeting this low here. So the exact same setup that you took down here, you now have at the highs. We have a 3 drive with 1 hour bullish divergences into the sweep of Monday's low. You play this trade all the way up into this supply that led to the breakdown. You have 1 hour bearish divergence here. You could have scalped this one for a 3% move, and then you get the next one a little higher. You sweep this. You could have taken that as a separate trade and or still just been short because your invalidation's up here. We then accept back below Monday's high, and this plays all the way down into here. Now, what do you guys see here? So you could have literally scalped it here. You could have played this short down into Monday's low, where we then again have the exact same setup. We have 3 drive, 1 hour bullish divergence. We don't get the full sweep, but it is into Monday's low. This played out like this is only like a 4% scalp, but you can see how you can trade these. You can see the reactions you get when the divergences stack up, and especially when they come into key levels. This isn't even using support resistance. This is strictly just using the Monday high function of the indicator and the divergence function. So this is a whole nother way that you can take trades without even using the support resistance, right? We went through support resistance and how you can play it with the divs at the levels. So that was like this version here, but you can play it in a completely different way where you take the divergences around Monday high and low sweeps, again, all built into the indicator. But you can see how you could have went long here, you could have went short here, you could have scalped long here, right? So like if there's any questions on how to do this, let me know, but it should be pretty clear, I think, from this description and just like exactly how it's shown on the chart. So just let me know. Yeah, we'll do more psychology streams in the future because those are like beyond important. So I like that idea. And I'll do the emotional psychological streams as well and show you how you can use the tools inside of Woodsbot and the indicator to actually like combat your emotions. Does anyone have any questions on the Monday range stuff? Let me know now. If not, I'm going to move into ranging and how you can identify ranges and how you can trade the ranges with the indicator. Yeah, the more you start backtesting with this indicator, all of the different features, it, like I said, it essentially, if you learn how to use this and you pay attention to this stuff, will be giving you buy and sell signals. It'll tell you exactly when the market has high potential to reverse, whether that's using support and resistance levels on the higher time frame with divergences into them, using the Monday range levels. Doesn't even matter. Like I said, this is like a higher confidence, higher hit rate way to do it using like H4 levels with like M15 and M30. But you can scalp using 1 hour levels and like 5-minute divergences the exact same way. You're just not getting as big of moves. But like if the market's super choppy, you can do exactly what I showed you with the support resistance with 1 hour levels or 2 hour levels and execute with 5-minute divergences to find trades. works across any time frame, right? Like price is fractal, these things are fractal, they work on high time frames, low time frames. What if we don't sweep my Monday higher low and it shows us the div? Yeah, so you can still take the trades doing that for sure. The higher confidence trade is going to be the sweep of Monday's higher low, especially with a reclaim. But it doesn't have to, right? Like it's not necessary. But when you get all three pieces, like I showed you, where you get the sweep here, like you get the full sweep of Monday's low, like you could have longed here, right? You could have longed here with your stops like around that same, whatever, 4% level. Price ended up sweeping lower. You're still fine, right? It can still happen and you can still long here. But you have higher confidence when price sweeps the actual key level you're looking at, and then you get like the reclaim, especially, then it's even more high confidence. But yeah, you can still take the divs around the levels. All right, we're going to move now into ranging and how you can find ranges with the indicator and how you can trade ranges. So price ranges majority of the time in trading. I think the statistics like 70 to 80% of the time. So you need to understand, they're the hardest thing to trade as well. Like you really do need to have a strategy to trade ranges differently than you trade trending price action. But identifying and trading ranges is one of the most difficult things in trading. But with the actual indicator, I'm going to show you guys how you can identify ranges and also trade them. Extremely easy, extremely like you don't have to think about much. Again, the indicator just tells you exactly when to go long and short. No, you're good, Fizzy. This is all recorded, so this will be available to you guys. So in terms of identifying ranges, you can use the levels from the bot, or sorry, from the indicator, and it will help you identify ranges. Like you can see Tia here, right? You have a very clear range. Like, yes, we deviate below it and start to break down and reject, but like you can see very clearly the price that the ranges that price is bracketing between, right? On bonk here, you can see, you have price always comes up to here and always rejects, right? Comes down to here and bounces. Like you can map out ranges using these levels extremely easily. And then all you have to do is just draw your levels and like wait to execute at those levels. So it's really going to help you identify the ranges. Let's see. And I use the 4-hour levels for that. And you can see that there's different ranges within ranges, right? Like you have a range here that you could have been executing. It'll give you this is the bigger range, this one, but you can see that there's ranges and ranges. Like Tia's so very clearly got a range from these two levels, right? But our bot will the indicator will perfectly give you these ranges. Like you can see, like even now we've broken down and we bearish retested this. If you were just watching this on the 4-hour and you understood that this was a range, you can see, right? You know how price reacts when you start watching with the actual indicator on. You can see we have 3 rejections. This is not going higher. This is not going higher until we close 4 hours back inside the range. This could have been a very easy short with simple invalidation being 4-hour closes back inside of here. If the market chooses to break down, Tia is going to continue much lower because we've lost this range we've been in since November 22nd, right? We did lose it once already, but we reclaimed it, tested range high. Now we're literally losing it and bearish retesting it. But anyways, this is how you can identify ranges, is using the 4-hour levels, and it'll be so intuitive to you because you'll just see where price is bracketing between and you can just draw a box like this. Now I'm going to show you how you can actually execute trades within the ranges without chopping yourself in the middle, because that's exactly what a range does, and that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to make you lose money in the middle. So very simple. We have our range, right? Drawn out, and say whatever. Price had come here and price had come here, and you had drawn this range out. Because like the range formed with like at least 2 touch points, right? So say the range already did those 2 touch points. We're just going to leave those because it is what it is. But now you can look to execute trades at each extreme of the range without doing anything in the middle. Anything you do in here, you're just getting chopped up as price is indecisive. When price comes to either side of the range, that's where you want to execute. So let's take a look. We simply turn our divergences on, and we can very clearly see this is where the range formed. Now we're looking for price to come into either range and give us a divergence signal of a reversal, right? So we have here, again, you don't want to do anything in the middle because this is just a choppy mess. You can see even the divergences that are happening, they're happening just in the middle. Like if you remember, you want to execute when divergences are around overbought and oversold territory, especially also now when you're looking at the range. So we have here a very clear 15-minute bullish divergence that is oversold into the range lows. That's where you could have executed a trade. Price goes up. We have this choppy mess in the middle, which you ignore. And then we have these 2 signals here, these very clear divergences. Let's turn OBV off. If you don't have the OBV on, then it's a bit messier. So we have this divergence here, which you got. Price was up around the overbought territory. It pushed a little higher, like 2.5%. So depending, like, I mean, if you took this trade, your invalidation, like if you were taking it normally, probably would have been anywhere above this little range here. So like your invalidation in here makes absolutely no sense. It's not a real invalidation. Like real invalidation would be here above this current high. Doesn't give you the best risk to reward just because like, what is this, 10%? So never mind, that's like a 2R trade. That's beautiful. So real invalidation would be above here, maybe even just above here for a bit tighter. So even though this divergence pushed a little higher, realistically, depending where you put your trade, you would have been fine, and you could have caught a 2R trade back down to here, where once again, you can see we are now sitting around that oversold area, and we have a, what is that, 1, 2, 3, we have a 4 drive of bullish divergence. We have this sweep, like this actually swept this here, so we swept range lows with the bullish divergence. That's where you would have looked to take a trade. Now, if you're playing the range properly too, you're long from here, taking some profits in the middle, you're taking profits when you start getting overbought and you have these divergences. Either hold some as a hedge or now you're flipping short. Take some in the middle. Now you have like price becoming oversold with divergences and the sweep of range low. Either keep some of the short or you flip long. And this is if you're playing it perfect. This is hindsight 2020. Like, it's so fucking hard to actually execute that and just be long from here, perfectly short from here, perfectly long from here. But I'm just showing you how, like, strictly data-wise, you can use the indicators to eventually execute like that. Like, it'll tell you exactly when to get long and short, when to take profits, when a potential reversal is. So just being real, like, you're not going to execute just perfectly. Maybe you do, but, like, it's a lot harder. Hindsight's 2020. But anyways, you can get long around this range low. And then we come up here, there are no divergences on this one, but price becomes overbought. Anyways, it's range high, so you do expect a rejection here. No divergences, comes down. Doesn't quite get to the low. You have some divergences, though, that do mark out the low where it is. And then what do we have here? So we push above range high, and then we test it, and we hold it, right? So this is an area where, like, did we sweep this one? No, so we didn't sweep this high yet. But you could have looked to take a scalp long potentially here, but you know, price is a bit overbought, so you probably wouldn't. But what do we have here now? So this high that I was marking, which was your invalidation on the short here, has now been swept, right? This was the push up that swept it. We also had a 15-minute divergence up here. So you could have looked to short this depending on the reaction of the sweep if you wanted. You know, if we accepted above this, we were going to push much higher. But we swept and we kind of rejected back down. And you could have even waited for some price action like this, where now we are accepting back inside the range. So we took liquidity up here, pushed above, got a bit overbought, had the divergence, and then we started accepting back below. So you could have looked to then take a short around here with now your invalidation back above here as your new invalidation. But again, no divs, that's just like standard PA stuff. So we pushed back below, reclaim the range, come back up, test range highs, and yeah, now we've lost it, and now you can see here, oh, perfect. Like, so what I was showing you guys on the 4 hour is you can see, I mean, it's just so many things, right? Even now we come down, you have a 4 hour bullish divergence. So you could have expected a push into at least here. And that's exactly what we got, right? The 4 hour divergence played. You now have price rejecting range lows, price rejecting the 50 mark on the RSI. And you can see here on the 4 hour time frames how clear the rejection of the level is. But if we go down to 15-minute, you could have executed this. You have two 15-minute bearish divergences into that range low. So you could have understood that this was the level you were expecting a bearish divergence at on higher time frames, and then you could have zoomed into the lower time frames and executed that trade. So you can see how these levels and divergences, you can play them in so many different ways and tie them in with all of your regular technical analysis, supply and demand, you know, your sweeps, your ranges, things like that. But overall, that's how you can spot ranges. And then I use the 4 hour levels to spot them, but then I execute at range highs and range lows using the 15-minute or 30-minute time frame. And the divergence is shown by the actual indicator. If anyone has any questions on that, just let me know. That's Tia. Again, now we have bonk. So I'll just show you guys, you know, clear range here. But like the range wasn't that clear, to be fair, because this was range highs and then this was range lows, but we only had one test of range highs. But essentially, whatever. Let's just, for example's sake, say the price did this. And this is just like a very clear range. It's the same thing. It's just you have your range high, right, where you can look to execute with things like this. You have your range lows, right? Like you'll get these divergences. This is when the range forms. So these aren't even like valid in terms of range, but this is what it will look like. You'll have your range and you will get 30-minute or 15-minute divergences every single time into those range highs and range lows. Avoid executing anything in here, and you just execute when you get these signals, right? And that's how you can use the indicator to find the levels using H4 of a range and then also execute with the 15-minute and 30-minute. Makes it very, very easy. And all of this comes from, like, you guys have to go and back test. You guys have to go and look at the charts. I'm giving you the keys to understand what to look for. You still have to go and do the work and lock it in terms of like pattern recognition. Once you do, then like the indicator will do it all for you. You just have to know what to look for. Going on Playwright. So the indicator doesn't mark the range for you. You actually, like, you just mark it yourself, but the indicator gives you support resistance levels. So if I take all the drawings off, it gives you these levels. You just draw them on the chart yourself. Like I just drew, you know, these levels on myself to mark the range out. So does anyone have any questions on the ranging stuff? So I'm going to jump into trending. And then we'll end it there. what was on. Yeah, so it's still currently forming like Native said. So you need some candle closes here, right? Like it can still push down and this can still be a div, but it's currently forming at the moment. So you would need like, you know, candle close, whatever, say it closes here and that's where the div is, and then price starts to close more candles up like that, then yeah, it'd be a 4-hour div. But it is a 4-hour div, it's just forming at the moment. All right, so let's take a look at, so that's how you can play trending price action, but you can also play, or sorry, that's how you can play ranging price action, but you can also play trending price action. So I'm gonna show you guys here real quick. The same thing, you have your levels and you can just execute with the divergences. So, you know, you had your high, you had your low, you had your high, you had here where we started to form. This here was your first lower high, and then you broke structure right here. So now we are trending down, right? So we're going to just mark it out like you have your low, you have your high, your low, your high. This is your next low, your next high right here, your next low. This is your next high. These is all in between, low, high, low, high. So those are, that's like your next structure trending down. Now I'm going to show you how you could have executed at each of these like levels here where your structure was the next lower high on lower time frames. So using the levels and using the divergences like we've gone over. So that's the structure on the 4-hour. Now if we go down to the 15-minute, now I can show you how you could have executed at each of these spots. Turn the divergences on, the exact same thing. 4-hour resistance, 15-minute divergence, that caused that lower high. Now this is the next lower high, same thing. 2 drives of 15-minute bearish divergence into resistance, and we reject. This was your next lower low, this was your next higher low. Now this one here didn't have a divergence, but if you go to the 4-hour, how I was going to go and you guys had a look at the levels, you can see here that we came up, rejected, and all of these like barely even touched it. This one touched it and rejected, right? So this one didn't have lower time frame 15-minute divergences, but you can see just how it rejected the level. You can go to hourly. You can see that one came up. You can see that we never even closed hourlies outside of this one. Closed an hourly above, immediately closed back below. Never closed anything there. This one didn't have well, to be fair, like you did have a divergence here on the 15-minute if you wanted, but not really. Like it's in a place where you wouldn't really execute a trade. Just to be clear, still then this was your next lower low, this was your next higher low. Again, you reject it and you have a 15-minute divergence, not in the greatest area. Have another 15-minute divergence here. These were all in the area of forming your next, what is it, lower high. This was your lower low, this was your next lower high, and you can see here that we have a 15-minute divergence that is overbought into resistance. Beautiful trigger. That was your next lower high, and we rejected, and then this was your next lower high area. 15-minute bearish divergence, 15-minute bearish divergence, right into resistance, right? So I'm just showing you guys the low time frame execution on the actual 4-hour structure. Looks like a bit of a mess right now, but you can see that like your lower low, lower high, 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 lower low, lower high. I showed you guys the 50-minute bearish divergences that you could have followed structure all the way down. You could have been short from here and held that short all the way down because we're trending. You could have compounded your short here as we never closed 4-hour candles above the level and continued to hold all the way down. You could have compounded your short here as we never closed 4-hour levels above and continued to ride the trend down. Here, you could have compounded again, or you could have reshorted any of these with no stress as we rode the trend all the way down, right? The trend is down. You can play the trending PA that way. Now, I'm going to show you something on the flip side as well. Let me go back. Now, I'm going to show you guys something on the flip side. The structure's still there with these. Now I'm going to show you how you could have scalped every single lower low. Now, what do we have here? This is your lower low. We have a 15-minute bullish divergence into support, right? This could have been a scalp into your next short. Now, because we're trending, when I show you guys any of these lower lows, you couldn't have held these for more than a scalp because we're trending down, right? It's important to understand you could have compounded and held any of these shorts all the way down here, but any of these long scalps I'm showing you would have just been a scalp at that, and then it would have made the lower low. But you could have longed every single lower low with the exact same triggers. Here, again, 15-minute bullish div into support. Could have scalped that. The next lower low is here. You could have scalped that with a 15-minute bullish divergence. The next lower low is here. You could have scalped that with a 15-minute bullish divergence. The next lower low is here, where you could have scalped that for actually quite a nice move. 22% move higher, right? Even just looking here, you have a 50-minute bearish divergence near resistance. So I hope it's becoming very clear to you guys how you can use the levels and the divergences to do anything. You can play trending, you can play ranging, you can play the Monday range, you can just play divergences at the levels. You could have, like I said, compounded shorts all the way down at all of these because we didn't even close 4 hours above the previous levels that we're rejecting with the lower highs. So there's so many ways to play, and you could have also scalped every single lower low, right? All the way down, you could have caught so many moves on just this one coin using the actual indicator itself and so many different ways. So if anyone has any questions on the trending stuff, just let me know. There's a lot that's covered in here, and I'm just kind of going over it quick because it's been about an hour 20, but this will all be recorded. They'll all be separate education sections on all of these things I've covered, being the support resistance flips, divergences into the levels, the Monday range with divergences, the ranging price action, trending price action, all of it. I use them from time to time, but we're just covering the indicator in this one here. Even just looking at the levels, you can just see how we rejected 4 hours on each lower high, right? Slight close above, immediate close below, no closes above. Just beautiful stuff. Same with the scalp on the 4 hours, right? You can just see the wicks closing above, testing the levels. Yeah, but any questions at all now on the indicator, just let me know. Anything technical, we have native here. Anything from what I covered, just let me know. This is the time as we're going to wrap it up now, so we'll do a bit of live Q&A here. No questions? Well, yeah, so anyone with gold and platinum, these are all of the different ways, honestly, that I just have found and used it. Like, everyone's going to find different ways, and I'm excited to see how you guys all use it. This is just the stuff that I wanted to put together to cover basically any way that there is that you guys want to trade, whether that's scalp, swings, trending, ranging. But yeah, this indicator is insane. Lots of different features in it. Gold and platinum have access, but anyone who has free trials or anyone in verified, this is what you can also look forward to if you are to go ahead with the ref link, sign up, deposit the 500 into your trading account. You will also get access to this. And again, that it's all free. All you do is sign up and deposit. There's no hidden fees. There's no monthly fees. There's nothing. You get access to all of the previous bots that you guys see in the education that I've shown you, plus you will get access to this. So no problem, Vlad. Happy to help. Hicks, Tycho, all you guys, appreciate you coming through. Appreciate all the questions. Any other questions you guys have after this, just let me know. Let anyone know of the mods in the chat. Like I said, this will all be recorded, so you guys can watch it back. There's a lot covered in this. And anyone with the indicator, just back test all this stuff. And I know a lot of you guys are already using it, seeing you guys making trades with it. It's awesome. Love seeing how everyone's using this differently. It's a crazy product, so glad to see you guys taking full advantage of it, and I hope this helps. Recording will probably be uploaded later today, I would assume. All right, guys. Appreciate you all. Thanks again for coming through. Any questions you have, just let us know, and we'll get to you. And yeah, we'll have another stream soon. Keep covering this all. Keep killing it. Sending you strong. All right, guys. Have a good rest of your week. We'll talk to you later.